This man is the host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and you could check him out at Ross Tucker NFL as well on Twitter. I follow him, and you should as well. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Ross? How you been?
Rich, I am awesome, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. I've got a Patriot fan and I've got a Cowboy fan here, and with the news that the Cowboys are, Jerry telling Peter King that the Cowboys could go for $10 billion, which I don't disagree with, that the Patriot fan is like, yeah, but how happy does that really make Jerry to keep the Cowboys? I put out a Twitter poll. Who's going to win a championship first, Patriots or Cowboys? What would you click on first?
Ooh.
You know the answer, Ross. It's okay.
Gosh, that's such a great question.
Thank you, sir.
It's weird, Rich, because it feels like the Cowboys have sort of just missed out on a golden opportunity. I think about their offensive line, Tyron Smith getting up there in years, Zach Martin probably past his peak, although he's still playing at a really high level. Zeke isn't what he was. Dak is now making huge money. Amari's gone. I feel like there's almost going to be like a 30 for 30 someday where we're going to look back and be like, how did they win? What did they win, one playoff game? Like, how is it possible that they had these good young skill players on rookie contracts, arguably the best line in the league for a couple of years, and they really did almost nothing with it? I mean, I know they made the playoffs and they won the division, but very, very little, not even getting to a conference championship game. Then you got the Patriots, who I was not impressed with their draft, although I guess nobody really asked me. They probably have a better chance than the Cowboys as long as Belichick is the coach there. I guess I would go Patriots. I will tell you this, though, Rich. This Jerry Jones $10 billion thing, it's really making me laugh. I'll tell you what he does know about. He knows about profit margin and EBITDA, because the Cowboys were the only team that I played for out of my 5 that charged you for lunch.
Come on.
They charged for lunch.
What?
They would payroll deduct, I think it was $100, might have been $150. They would payroll deduct $150 a week for lunch. And it was garbage. It was like mashed potatoes and like fried chicken. And I remember I asked the finance guy, I'm like, what is this $150 a week payroll? He's like, yeah, it doesn't bother you that much, right? Look how much you're getting. I'm like, no, it bothers me. What is it? And he said, that's for lunch. I said, what if I just bring like a turkey sandwich? Like, are you still going to take the $150 away? So, and not only that, Rich, when I got cut by Parcells, I went to the equipment room to get my helmet because I had started 7 games the year before, and Mike, the equipment guy, is a great guy. He said, Jerry looks at that as his property, and we're going to have to payroll deduct you at $300. I'm like, that's fine. I started 7 games with the Cowboys. I want to keep the helmet for my kids for the rest of my life. If you guys need a payroll, deduct me $300, go ahead. So they're definitely valuable, Rich. They definitely know profit margin in Dallas.
So are you saying, Ross Tucker, that the Cowboys are kind of like a golf club? There's a food and beverage minimum? Is that what you're saying, that you have to hit in order to? Cause did you bring a turkey sandwich and keep the $150 a week, or what?
No, I wanted to, though. I should have called him out on it. I mean, I literally talked to the finance guy, but I didn't actually go ahead with it. But, yeah, I mean, I played for 5 teams. They're the only one that charged for lunch. And I'm thinking, I don't know if anybody else charged me for my helmet. I mean, I'm looking behind me. The Bills didn't. The Patriots didn't. Washington didn't. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys were also the only team that ever charged for my helmet.
So you do believe the $10 billion line, then, the profit margin,
you know
margin
what?
call?
Here's what I believe, Rich.
Yes.
I know enough about businesses now to know that ultimately they're really trading off of EBITDA. And if you're charging your players for lunch and their helmet, probably got a pretty good EBITDA.
Yeah.
Probably got a lot of profit, a lot of earnings there, a lot of net income for Jerry Jones. Certainly more than the other people. I mean, we already know. We don't have to guess. We already know that they create the most revenue, and I'm giving you examples of them clearly cutting down on their expenses. So yeah, the cash is probably flowing very nicely there for the Dallas Cowboys.
Ross Tucker Football Podcast, at Ross Tucker NFL on Twitter, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Saw your tweet today that you don't think the Panthers or the Seahawks are going to go into week one with their current quarterbacks on the roster. Why do you think that?
Yeah, I guess I just don't really believe that. Carolina, we know Matt Rule's on the hot seat. Is he really going into this year with a guy like Sam Darnold and Matt Corral? I just don't believe that. I think they're both posturing, both being the Seahawks and the Panthers, because the Panthers are probably waiting out Jimmy G's surgery and seeing how he can throw in June and July. I think the Panthers probably believe that they're kind of in the driver's seat to be able to get either Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield, because the Niners wouldn't want to send Jimmy G up to Seattle. I doubt that. Now, listen, I played with the Buffalo Bills after the Patriots had traded Bledsoe to Buffalo, which nobody ever thought they would do, but they did. I still don't see Jimmy G going to Seattle. I don't see that happening. So I think right now Seattle and Carolina are slow playing it because they know that eventually it'll get uncomfortable for Cleveland with Baker Mayfield with that kind of guaranteed money in training camp. They wouldn't want him to get hurt. There's issues there. And then they want to see how healthy Jimmy is. So I think once July comes around, once it gets real with Jimmy's health and with Baker Mayfield reporting to training camp, and not that quarterbacks get injured that much, but you never know. I just don't think the Browns want Baker to be at training camp. I think they want to have this resolved. I think it'll sort itself out, probably with Baker going to Seattle and Jimmy going to Carolina.
So that's oh man, I don't know when that happens. When does that happen? Because I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns hold on to Baker in training camp and just tell him go off to the side like Deshaun did in Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, because at what point they're going to have to cut him? Nobody's going to come get him unless there's a significant injury, like a major significant injury like Teddy Bridgewater. And I don't even know if Baker would be the first choice for a team like Seattle if Jimmy G's also cut and on the market. I don't know.
You know what I envision with Baker? I envision him going to one of those two teams for like $6 million. The Browns pay the other $12 million, and the Browns get a late round pick. So if you're the Browns, obviously it's not ideal, but you get something in return, and you're not on the hook for the full 18.5 or whatever it is. Whereas the other team says, okay, we make sure we get him. We're only paying him $6, and we know he's on our team, and we're giving up a late round pick. Maybe it's a 6th round pick. But that is why I think Carolina and Seattle are slow playing. And I think that they believe there's some chance Cleveland is going to cut him. They're playing chicken with each other right now. But I would even take it a step further. Even if you forget about Baker Mayfield and Jimmy G for a second, there's no way Matt Rule's going down with Sam Darnold and Matt Corral. And I'm looking at Seattle. I know that Pete Carroll has a good relationship with the owner there, and the owner has not made very many, if any, public comments. But you can't go into the season with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. What are we doing? Because some of their other moves don't indicate that they're really trying to rebuild. I think they're putting on a good face now, but I think they're going to get one of these other guys. I don't think they're really going to start week one with Drew Lock as their quarterback. I don't believe that.
Ross Tucker here on the Rich Eisen Show, the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. So when we went off the air on Friday, Ross, the news broke that Jarvis Landry was signing with the Saints. So now that means Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas coming back, Chris Olave, and then the returning wide receivers that are there, Alvin Kamara, and then Jameis. Would you take that offense over Tampa's, Ross? What do you think?
No. One has Tom Brady, one has Jameis Winston.
And that's the end of it?
I know Jameis played pretty well last year, but no. Are you talking about other than the quarterback?
Yeah, I guess that would be a difference maker, but Man, the weapons that the Saints are putting together right now with the defense. So I guess since you've already answered that question, what do you think the Saints' chances are with Dennis Allen at the helm of taking the Bucs out and really ruining Brady's potential final season? What do you think of that?
Well, I think the thing I think is so interesting, Rich, is I think with Jameis coming off the injury and with Sean Payton, stepping away, and even guys like Teron Armstead no longer being there, so they're going to probably go with a rookie like Trevor Penning, who they took in the first round from Northern Iowa. I picture them being around a 500 ball club. I really do. But you look at the moves they've made. I mean, you look at them being aggressive and signing Jarvis Landry, being aggressive, signing Tyrann Mathieu. The amount of picks they gave up, Rich, to get Chris Olave. I mean, they traded next year's 1, this year's 3, and a second-round pick in 2024 to get the 16th pick from the Eagles. Then they traded a 3 and a 4 to go from 14 to 11, or from 16 to 11 to get Olave. I mean, 5 really solid picks for Chris Olave. Every indication we're getting from New Orleans is that they think they're going to be in the playoffs. They think they're going to be really good. They're certainly acting that way. They basically think that they're a lot better than anybody else does. I still think they're probably about a 500 team. Maybe these moves are enough to get them a wild card, and maybe that's good enough for them to be signing these veterans, paying them what they are, mortgaging these draft picks in the future. They are very much in win-now mode, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if it's a culture thing, and they want to make sure that they can still win even though that Peyton's gone. They want to keep that winning atmosphere there with Dennis Allen. I don't know if they just believe in Jameis that much. I just think it's really interesting because nobody else really seems to think the Saints are as good as they seem to think they are.
Ross, what's myfrontpagestory.com? What is that? What are you doing?
It is the greatest gift anybody has ever given their wife or their mom for any reason. We just killed it, Rich, for Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
You basically talk to a writer about your mom or your wife or whoever. So you could do it for your dad. You could do it for your Father's Day coming up in a month. Anybody listening can do it for their dad. They write the most unbelievable story about them. It looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper. It's framed. It's beautiful. And it's just awesome because I've seen so many videos now when they open it, they're like, what is this? And they're just like, well, I wanted something special, so I had a story written about you. And then, especially like the way our parents are, they see something in black and white. It looks like my sister and I gave one to my mom when she turned 70. She just started bawling. My sister's quote was, I wouldn't be the woman I am today if it weren't for my mom. My mom immediately waterworks. And the best thing about it is, Rich, it's the gift that keeps on giving because they hang it on their wall. So forever, every day they see how much you love them by getting them this story. You should check it out. Seriously, Brockman, check it out. myfrontpagestory.com.
On it.
Well, Brockman's going to put stuff on there about his great shooting ability and stuff like that. Honestly,
Brockman will get the story about himself.
He literally tweeted something out yesterday that the Bucs could have used him with their poor shooting yesterday.
Ridiculous.
Are you telling me that I could have done one shot better than what they did yesterday?
That's what you so there you have it. That'll be a great front page story. Thanks for the call, Ross. Take care. We'll chat again soon.
Anytime, man. Take care.
You got it. That's Ross Tucker. You should follow him. I do at Ross Tucker NFL. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.